in a year, Kent has said its services for unaccompanied asylum-seeking children is at breaking point. It's threatening to break the law and refuse to accept any more by the end of this week when it runs out of capacity.
More than 400 children are now in its care. Over to Tony Green at Dover. And Tony, this is an urgent problem for the County Council, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. It's not a particularly new problem, but it is becoming an increasingly urgent problem because of the numbers involved. There have been record numbers of people coming across the channel this year. Adults are dispersed all the way across the country, but anybody under the age of 18 is classified as an unaccompanied asylum-seeking child, and they become the responsibility of Kent County Council's Children's Services. Now, there is a transfer scheme in place with other councils, but Kent says that isn't working, and as a consequence, its own resources are placed under breaking point.
So the current transfer scheme works on a voluntary basis, and that means that it's just not taking sufficient children from Kent to other authorities, which means that we're finishing up with way above what's deemed to be the safe number of children that we should be having, and our services are in danger of being overburdened completely.
So Tony, what has the government done about this?
Well, in August and September last year, they had a consultation to try and make that system fair, but so far they haven't published any responses to that, and they haven't come up with a new plan. We spoke to the local government association, and they say that the funding isn't in place to properly settle a child or to help them recover from the trauma that they've experienced. And as a consequence of the 242 children who've come here to Kent between January the 1st and June the 1st this year, only 52 have been placed in other councils. Kent says it's at breaking point, and from the end of this week it will tell Border Force to place children with other local authorities, something that would actually be illegal. They're also threatening to take Priti Patel, the Home Secretary, to court to get her to use her powers to make councils take on their fair share. The Dover MP, Natalie Elfic, says that action has to be taken now.
Kent County Council have been having a really good dialogue, but they haven't had the action that they actually want, which is making sure that the legislation, which was put in some years ago, is now put into action to make sure that the government mandates makes it compulsory for other councils to take responsibility for what is a national crisis and should have a national response.
Well, we've also spoken to a former child asylum seeker from Kent who came to Kent years ago, who says that the whole experience of being an asylum seeker and a child is both dehumanising and demoralising.
Rubbish.
When I arrived in Kent, I was treated much better than across half of the world, but physically I was safe. I was given clothes and food, but mentally I was distracted and disturbed. And actually, because of the system of disbelief, my age was disputed. Actually, the Home Office disputed my nationality. I was seen, as I was saying, as a criminal, as a suspect. And it was quite a dehumanizing process and demoralizing. So when people get here, they need all sorts of support, particularly when it comes to language support. Of course, you need, the basic necessity applied, but more importantly, there is not much attention paid to mental health and people's well-being.
Tony, what has the government said in response?
Well, they've said that they recognise the efforts that Kent County Council has made and they're grateful for them. They say that they will come out with a new response from that consultation that they held last year, and they will come up with proposals to make the whole system fairer. But they've only got 10 days to do it, because that's when Kent County Council says it will launch its own legal action, and that will be in the High Court.
Tony, in Dover, thank you.
Well, the problem